If you're a C# developer, there are two concepts that honestly make the difference between a clean, well-built application and a total mess. They're pretty much the bedrock of how we build solid, scalable code. So today, we're going to break down these two powerhouses, assemblies and namespaces. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you're a seasoned architect. Every single one of us faces this exact question. As your project gets bigger and bigger, how on earth you stop it from collapsing into this chaotic, unmanageable tangle of code? It's a massive challenge, right? Well, the answer, at least in the .NET world, is baked right into the framework. It really comes down to getting a solid grip on these two key tools for organization: assemblies, which handle the physical side of things, and namespaces, which manage the logical structure. All right, so let's tackle assemblies first. The absolute best way to think about an assembly is to picture it as a physical object, kind of like a finished, bound book that's ready to go on a library shelf. So, what's the official technical definition? Well, an assembly is the final compiled output of your code. It's the actual file you end up with. That DLL for a library or an EXE for an application, the thing you can actually deploy, share, and run. It's the smallest piece of your application that can be versioned and shipped as one unit, making it the real, tangible thing that comes out of all your hard work. And this analogy of a book, it's perfect. A book is a totally self-contained unit, right? It's got all its chapters, an index, a cover, everything. Think about it. You wouldn't just send someone a stack of loose pages. No, you bind it all together into a finished book. And that's your assembly. So let's see how these key attributes map back to our book analogy. The compilation unit, that's the final manuscript all edited and ready to go. The deployment unit is the actual printed book you hand to someone. The security boundary, well, that defines who's allowed to read the book or access its contents. And strong naming, think of it like a unique ISBN number. It's a unique ID that guarantees you got the exact version of that book you need, which is crucial for preventing chaos if there are multiple versions out there. Okay, that makes sense for assemblies. They're the physical books. But what about namespaces? Well, they represent the logical organization inside those books. A better analogy here might be to think of them as departments within a big company. So, technically speaking, a namespace is just a container for your code. Its entire job is to group related things, like your classes and interfaces, together. This gives you a clear, logical structure, and this is a big one. It stops you from having naming conflicts, which can become a total nightmare in large projects. And this corporate department analogy, it just clicks. Any big company needs structure, right? You've got sales, human resources, engineering. Each one has a very clear purpose and holds people with specific roles. That's exactly what a namespace does for your code. So let's break down what that means. As an organizational unit, it groups your related code, just like the HR department groups all the HR folks. It avoids naming conflicts. This is how you can have a class called employee in your HR namespace and another completely different employee class over in payroll with zero confusion. It has a hierarchical structure, so you can do cool things like mycompany.finance.billing, and it controls visibility, letting you decide what's public for everyone to use versus what's internal just for that department. Okay, so this is where it all comes together. This is the crucial part, where that distinction between the physical and the logical becomes crystal clear. And here it is, the core distinction, laid out plain and simple. An assembly is the physical package. It's what you deploy, what you give a version number to, and where you set security rules. A namespace, on the other hand, is purely logical. It's how you organize your code before you compile it to make it understandable and keep it from becoming a mess. It really boils down to this: assembly is physical, namespace is logical. Assembly is about deployment, namespace is about organization. Now, you might think it's a simple one-to-one thing, but it's way more flexible than that. A single assembly, our book, can contain a whole bunch of different namespaces inside it. But here's the real game changer. A single namespace, say mycompany.ui, can actually have its code spread out across multiple different assemblies. And that flexibility is what lets you build truly robust modular applications. Okay, so what does all this mean for you when you're actually sitting down to write code? It means you have to think like an architect, and these two concepts are your primary tools for building something that's actually built to last. I think this quote really wraps it up perfectly. It's all about mastering that interplay between your deployable books and your logical departments. That's how you can weave a tapestry of code that isn't just functional, but is also clean, scalable, and easy to maintain for years to come. So I'll leave you with this one last question to think about. When you look at your own projects, ask yourself this: are you thoughtfully creating a well-organized library of books, or are you just piling up a bunch of loose pages? The answer really lies in how you use your assemblies and namespaces.